Good afternoon, students and parents. Hope you're doing well. In math, we're starting fractions, and when you have one of something, it's called a unit. So these are unit fractions, but we're going to collectively look at them in one whole and see how these unit fractions function. A unit fraction is also the smallest fraction you can have and still have that same fraction. We're also going to look at the sums and differences of these, so we're going to be adding and subtracting fractions using these unit fractions and these circle models. It sounds a little complicated. It could be a little bit difficult at times, but after you get used to this, I think you're going to do okay. There's some fractions at the end that you can create on your own. Do your best to work with it and stay with it. If it seems a little complicated, set it aside for a little bit and come back. Here we are with unit fractions, week 25. And if you remember from last week, a unit fraction is the smallest amount of a fraction, still have that same fraction. So here, the smallest amount we could have is a half. If we get any smaller than a half, we're going to be into different sizes. Over here we have a whole. Let me show you how to write a fraction for a whole. This would be a whole fraction. It would be like that, 1 over 1. We have one whole and we have just one part of that. This can also be shown on the outside as being one whole. Okay, we aren't going to divide it and separate this. The division doesn't go all the way through it. So let's go ahead. I'm going to fill in these other ones. I will meet you on the other side. So here we have the finished fractions that we're going to be looking at in 12th grade. I originally was going to discontinue 11 and 7 and put a star by 10, but we're going to need the spaces around them. And let me show you what we're going to need that space around for. We're going to start thinking about how to create other fractions within these units of fractions. So let me go ahead and take a third up here first. We aren't going to do a half because we only have 2 pieces to half, and you remove or add a half, it gives you a whole, so there's not much we can do about that. Remember when we join things with lines that is addition. So we could add this half, this third, and this third together, and what will we get? Let's look at that. If we took 1/3 and added it to another 1/3, what will we get? Well, we'd get 2/3. And we can see that, these 2/3. We can also subtract a third. I'm going to show you how we do that. To subtract a third on our model, we're going to color that part of the model out, so we don't see that 1/3. So this is like if this got cut on thirds and someone removed a 1/3 piece, this piece right here, we can only see these 2 pieces. So this is like subtraction. So what would subtraction look like for 2/3? Well, this is going to get a little, I could use this same 2/3 if I want, and I can say, how would I use subtraction to get 2/3? I could take 3/3 and I could subtract 1/3. So both this addition and the subtraction either give me the same product on this side or give me the difference on this side. So this equation here and this equation are equivalent, and the difference and the sum are equal to each other. Now I could also just put 2/3 out here too, and just forget about using that 2/3 twice. Okay. The outcome is going to be the same. Here's my sum of adding 1/3 plus 1/3, and here's my difference of taking 3/3 and subtracting 1/3. I still get 2/3. So what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to give me examples. I'm going to color out some of the sections in these circles, and then I want you to give me an addition and a subtraction problem for each one of these circles. And then towards the bottom down here, I want you to come up with your own. So let's say for 1/4, I color out 1/4. We aren't going to use unknowns just yet for fractions. Not just yet. And I'm going to say some number or some fraction plus some fraction is going to equal some fraction. And over here I'm going to say some fraction minus some fraction is going to equal some fraction. Okay, the sum and the difference are going to be the same fraction or the same amount. So I want you to do this for all of these fractions. Do you want me to fill that in? Okay, I'll fill that in. So we're going to have some fraction plus, I guess we could do it right on the, oh, that was a messy eraser. I guess we can do it right on the division here. And we're going to say some fraction plus some fraction is going to equal a sum. And some fraction minus some fraction is going to equal some difference. And I'm going to color these two in here. So you have to come up with those equations for those fractions. Okay, do you see that? And let me do that for this row as well, this 6. And one more for the 7th, and you do the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th. And you come up with your own for that. I'll go ahead and fill in the rest, and I'll meet you on the other side. So for 1/8, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, come up with your own. Okay. On these, go ahead and do the math for 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th, and then make your own down here. So I hope this isn't too complicated. It's pretty straightforward. There's not any difficulty as far as the math's concerned. But we are doing addition and subtraction and coming up with either the same sum or the same difference. And if that confuses you, you can put an equal sign over here and do your subtraction over here. It makes no difference to me. It'll both be good math and show that you can understand how to add and subtract unit fractions to come up with sums and differences based on the models, these circle models. Good luck with that, and I look forward to getting this back and seeing how well you did.